All right. Hey everyone, and welcome back from lunch. Hope you had a lovely lunch. I enjoyed it very much. My name is Madeleine Schönemann, and I am a software developer. I work at 1337, or 1337, as we call it in Swedish. And I started out as a backend developer. I did C# for, 9 years now. And I spent most of my time doing that. But I later moved on to front-end development, and currently I work as a product manager. And I have been a Scrum Master too, and I am also co-host of the Swedish podcast Developers, together with my friend Sofia. And I have 2 shameless plugs here. So the first one is listen to the podcast if you haven't listened to it already. It's in Swedish, but if you want to practice Swedish, maybe it's a good thing to do. We talk about life as a software developer, and you can find it on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. And my second shameless plug is that Sofia will also do a talk here tomorrow about digital sustainability, so go and listen to that. But as you can hear, I am someone who does quite a lot of different things, and I'm the same in my spare time as well. I kind of jump from hobby to hobby. And I've had quite a lot of strange hobbies, actually. I've been doing everything from cake decorations to brewing kombucha to gardening to quilling. And for those of you who think that, what the heck is quilling? So quilling is actually an art form where you take a thin piece of paper and then you roll it and you shape it into different patterns. Sounds quite boring now when I think about it, so it's probably a good thing I moved on to another hobby. Nowadays I do mostly weightlifting in my time. And you know, you heard the term jack of all trades, master of none. And sometimes I feel like that. So I actually asked ChatGPT to help me out to find a better term than jack of all trades, because I think it sounds a little bit, I don't like it. So I asked if they could come up with a metaphor or something for someone who does quite a lot of different things. And ChatGPT gave me the message that a Renaissance person is someone who excels in multiple fields and has a wide range of talents and skills. And I can live with that. I can feel like a Renaissance person. So I'm gonna call myself from that from now on. And actually, fun thing, yesterday I saw that Beyoncé released her tickets for the new upcoming tour, which is called the Renaissance Tour. So it's me and Beyoncé now. So anyway, I also spend 20% of my time at work as something called a competence lead. And that just means that I am responsible for the competence development within a specific field, which in my case is interpersonal skills. And it's something I found really interesting and important. So I'm really glad I get to do that. Because we all know that it's, I'm not going to say easy to become a good programmer, but it's doable. Most of us can learn things, read blogs, and get our knowledge up to date. But to become a good developer, it requires a little bit more skills to be able to communicate with our client or understand what the customers need, and also to be able to work in teams. So teamwork is actually what I'm going to talk about today. And building software is hard. We all know that, right? It requires a lot of understanding of the problem domain. And it requires also the ability to design and implement a solution that is both functional and also maintainable. And building software can be quite expensive, right? It requires a significant investment in both time and money. And the teams that builds the software requires a lot of different competencies and skilled individuals like developers, testers, product managers, and so on. And then we also have all the tools that's needed, like the servers or the licenses we use and computers and everything. So it quickly adds up to a lot of money. It's a quite competitive field as well. We always need to deliver quickly and at a lower cost than our competitors. And I think that's many of you have probably heard sometime that some important person tells you like, we need to deliver this super quickly because we believe that our competitor is delivering the same thing, and you get all this stress and feel like you need to deliver quickly. So there's really no wonder that we are looking for the, superstars or unicorns, the 10x developer that is able to deliver 10 times as efficiently as the regular developer. So we are looking for the new Zlatan, someone who will solve all our problems and save us time and money. But I believe that instead of hiring like 5 10x developers, it's much more beneficial to focus on hiring one 10x team. So today we live in an economic that has brought upon a new phenomenon called the economics of superstars. And this theory posits that in certain industries there can be some exceptionally talented individuals who generate exponentially more value for their peers. So in the world of sports, and I'm not going to lie here, I'm not a super sporty person, but I do know a little bit. So in the world of sports, the economics of superstars theory tells us that in certain sports, like for example football, even though football is a team sport, we still see that clubs pay millions and millions of dollars for just that one key player. And they believe that they are the person that will score them goals, and that's why they pay so much for them. But why? Well, these highly skilled individuals, they can generate so much more value for the team, for the venue, for the advertisers, and everyone who is involved. And in return, they get quite a lot of much value back. And in software development, we often look for the 10x developer. And at its core, a 10x developer is someone who is able to produce results that are 10 times more impactful than the average developer. And this can manifest in a variety of ways, such as writing cleaner and more efficient code, identifying and solving problems more quickly, or having a greater ability to think outside of the box. And some people may say that a 10x developer is a term that is very subjective and open for interpretation, but there is still no denying that these kinds of individuals, they can have a significant impact on a company or organization, because they are able to take on more responsibilities and handle bigger projects and producing better results overall. So being a 10x developer, it's much more about being able to think critically and solve problems, not just writing good code. And I know it sounds really good. I can't argue with that. Of course, you want to hire a 10x developer if they can be 10 times as good, right? But however, software development is not like football or basketball, where you can have one team player who can kind of make or break the whole team. It's much more like rowing. It's a team sport where you need to have skill, you need to have synchronization, and you need to be able to work in teams. And this applies at all scales, regardless if it's a small 3-person boat or a large team of software developers. So if one person is out of sync when you row a boat, the boat will stall, you will not get forward. And it's similar in a team. If one person in the team is not working in harmony with the rest of the rest of the team will feel, you will get a decreased output and it will have a negative impact on the performance. So when we are hiring new developers, we often assume that if we have a great team and we have a great developer, we will have an even greater team together. And you think that both will excel. And that's, of course, a good reason to think. But when you focus on this kind of culture fit, it's easy to just try to find a person who will get along with the rest of the team. And simply just bringing highly skilled individuals with people who get along together will not necessarily create a 10x team, because it requires much more than that. So in a 10x team, we need to look for people who have complementary skills and people who can work together seamlessly, people who get along and have common goals, because these kinds of people will be able to innovate and solve problems and produce better results, much more than just an average team. So while culture fit is important, it's not enough to ensure the success for a team. So when we hire people, we should look for people who have a diverse range of experiences and backgrounds, because then they will be able to achieve exceptional results. So I would say that the key to success for a 10x team is not looking for 10x developers, but looking for people who can work in synchronization, who can work together and create an environment where everyone will thrive, because that will create long-term success. So how do we create a 10x team? It's the million-dollar question. It is quite challenging because you can't just pick a person. The person you pick is dependent on the persons who are already in the team, because everyone should be able to work together. And the most difficult part is that they are constantly changing. So if you change one person in the team, it will be a different team. So every time you try to recruit someone new, that's different. So the key question to ask yourself is, does this person make the team better? So I'm going to tell you a story. I once worked in a team where we had a team member, a developer, and they were a totally okay developer, not like the very best, but they did what they should. And if you put that person in a setting, like for example a technical interview, you know, when you are supposed to stand in front of a whiteboard and do a bubble sort by heart, it's horrible by the way, I think that person would probably have failed. But this person was the most motivated and driven person I might have met in my work life. They were so excited to learn new things, and they were constantly reading blogs and just trying to get updated. And you know what? That spread within the team. So this person's passion and, you know, excitement was contagious, and everyone in the team wanted to learn more things and, you know, get to know the latest trends and technologies. So even if they weren't the most technical person, they still made the whole team better as a whole. So when building a team, it's important not only to consider technical skills, which of course are important, but also consider characteristics such as personality. And they don't have to be the absolute best as long as they can bring value to the team as a whole. So to make this process easier, I have created a few personas for you to look out for. This here is Bella the Bite Bender. So Bella here she is like the true tech whiz of the team. She sets the bar for technical excellence, and she's the one who takes on all the challenging interviews. And not only does she have like exceptional technical abilities, but she also elevates the other people of the team. So she can't only just solve all the complex algorithms, but she can also mentor, for example, junior team members or any team member who needs mentorship. So overall, that will lead to a more technical and skilled team. This here is the MacGyver of the team. And MacGyver is he's a really resourceful team player and problem solver. So he kind of thinks outside the box and sometimes even bends the rules a little bit when necessary, and tries to find creative solutions to complex problems. And MacGyver is all about getting things done, you know? And he often challenges other people in the team to think differently and also find another alternative solution. So once there was a bug in his system, and he did find a little bit of an unorthodox solution to the problem. I wouldn't call it a kludge, or as we say in Sweden, a ful hack, but he maybe bent the rules a little bit to make it work. And just by doing this and encouraging other people to think outside of their box and thinking differently, they got to find new ideas and solutions. This one is my favorite. These ones are generated by Dali, by the way. It's very fun to generate Renaissance persons. I love his shirt, and I didn't specifically ask for short shorts, but that's what I got. So this is Umberto the Unbeatable. And Umberto is a very driven person. And he accomplishes things just by being determined, and he has like this unwavering spirit. So Umberto's presence inspires other people to focus and to be more motivated. And he believes that great things are possible. And it's nice to have someone in your team that thinks that. So when a tight deadline is approaching and there are some complex requirements that needs to be handled, Umberto ensures that they deliver code with high quality. And just by being so determined and driven, he motivates other people to work harder and achieve more. He likes saying just like, the impossible is possible. This lady here, it doesn't look like a lady, but it is. It's Eva, the educator extraordinaire. So Eva is an expert at gathering information, and she kind of picks out the good pieces of it. She's a constant learner. She stays up to date with latest technologies and trends, and she's a quick learner. But the best part is, like I said, she picks out the best pieces of information and shares them with the rest of the team. Just the most critical points. And how nice is it to have a person that can read all the documentation and then just let you know, this is what you need to know. So she helps others understand and how to work with all the complex systems that they might have. And she creates a positive impact over time as different team members learn from her. We also have Bert, the bullshit buster. And Bert is not afraid of calling out misinformation or inconsistencies, regardless of the different positions in the company. So he's able to identify if there is something that is misleading or if there is an action that doesn't speak well with him. And this really promotes honesty within the team and organization. So once the CEO of Bert's company announced something, and Bert didn't think that this was in the best interest of the team nor the organization. And he wasn't afraid to speak up. He asked questions and asked, why are we doing this, and this is inconsistent with our values. And this made other people daring to speak up as well, which in turn made the whole team more transparent. But of course it's important how you do this. I mean, we don't want to be that person who questions everything and asks, why are we doing this? Why? That can be quite annoying. So Bert's mission is to still maintain his integrity and be accountable for his actions, and just he doesn't want to be an a-hole. This lovely lady here is enthusiastic Eva, and she throws herself into her work with great passion. She thinks it's fun and she's happy and excited, and she works tirelessly to achieve results. And at the same time, she inspires other people to do the same. So she's passionate, she's enthusiastic, and that is contagious within the team. So Eva, she sets the standard for working, the standard for dedication, because other people, they don't really want to let her down. So she brings this enthusiasm also to the afterworks, of course. She's, you can say, the life of the party. And this is like a positive force for the whole team, because a happy and productive team will thrive in that environment. The last person we have is Gabe, the glue that holds us all together. And Gabe, he is that kind of person who, you just miss him when he's not at work. He makes other people feel special. He remembers when it's someone's birthday, and sometimes he even brings a cake. And he makes other people feel better when they are feeling down. And he's just easy to connect with. He has this lovable personality. So what Gabe does is that he makes other people want to do their best and be their best for the whole team. So this positive and upbeat work environment makes people look forward to coming to work. So I'm not saying now that you should only just bring cakes to the office every day and expect to be the most valued colleague. As I said, you still need to have the technical ability, of course. But the best part of these different personalities that I mentioned here is that they all complement each other very, very well. So for instance, if we take the educator, she works very well together with the enthusiasm, because they work together, and the enthusiast absorbs all the information from the educator. And then we also have the unbeatable and the bite bender, who also make a really great dynamic duo, because they quickly iterate and they are relentless in their pursuit of finding new discoveries. So, I am a bit curious here. Who do you think you are within this team? If you just scan the QR code, you will be able to vote. And I'm interested to see if we have a pattern, or like if everyone feels like they are the same. Quite a lot of MacGyvers here. That's nice. I think you are a little bit humble. I mean, there's not that many bite benders, but I think we have quite a lot of them here as well. Okay, so Gabe is sailing up. All right. I think it's fair to say that we have mostly MacGyvers here. That's good, getting things done. And both Umberto the Unbeatable and Gabe are close. Is it the shorts that you feel that you identify with? Yeah, great. Not very enthusiastic. All right. So once you have the perfect personalities of your team, there are 3 pillars that I think is very important when you try to make your 10x team. And the first one is trust. And trust is key within all relationships, not only personal, but also work relationships, of course. Because if we trust each other and are open with each other, we also hold each other accountable. So if you could choose to work with someone who is like stellar and they are so good at what they do, but they are inconsistent in their deliveries, or work with someone who is not just as good, but they constantly deliver and you know what to expect of them, which one would you choose? I think most of us would choose the one who is consistent, right? So knowing that you can rely on someone is crucial, because progress can very easily be derailed if you have a team member who is not doing their part. So what you should do is that you should keep your commitments. It goes without saying maybe, but deliver what you promise and communicate what's going on. So if something isn't working out the way it's supposed to be, just be clear about it instead of trying to hide it under the carpet. As I said before, I used to be a scrum master, so I know that my job was to help out and remove impediments, and that's super hard to do if people aren't honest about how it goes. Because it's very difficult to be able to solve a problem that you don't even know exists. So even if it might sound tempting to don't tell the whole truth, I totally recommend you to be honest. When we also have trust, there is no stigma around asking for help. Quite the opposite, actually, because if you have trust, you can see asking for help as an opportunity for the whole team to learn from each other and grow. But on the other hand, when trust is missing and you do a lot of promises that you don't keep, you get a reputation for being an unreliable person, and people just don't want to work with you. So, for a team to truly excel, it's important to feel ownership of your product or project. So ownership comes when the team feels engaged and invested in the success of the product. They feel a sense of pride. They are happy and proud of the work that they do, and they care about the quality of the product, and perhaps most of all, they care about the users and want to make the users happy and feel that they are able to accomplish what they are supposed to do. And without ownership, it's easy to feel apathy and, just don't care about the outcome. Have you felt like that sometime? Worked on something that you just didn't care about? Yeah. Oh, that was a clear yes. I hope you have found something else to work on. So how do we foster this kind of ownership within a team? So one thing, which is super important, is to encourage autonomy and personal responsibility. So you need to align the values of the team with the long-term objectives of the project. And if you have an environment where the people feel that they have control and are emotionally invested in the project, they will more likely will see success. So this will create a team that is guided by personal values instead of just being guided by following some rules that they got. So in many organizations, it looks like this. You get a task from upper management, maybe. You're tasked with building a distributed backend service that should be able to scale. Nothing strange there. And you as a team, you decide that we should go for Azure. We should deploy it on an app service because we want to focus more on code and not so much on infrastructure. And you decide to leverage the Azure load balancer because you will be able to get optimal response times and load balance, obviously. And it would be nice to put the messages on a storage queue so you can have asynchronous messaging, and Cosmos DB would also be good to have because you don't really need a relational database for the system you have. And so on, You know best because you work as a developer and you know the system. But before you get very far, you are stopped by management who are a bit afraid, and they ask like, hey, we need a thorough report on what you're doing, and preferably in PowerPoint. So can you do that? Because they say like, it's important that we know what you're doing, and you need to have our approval before you start your whole Wild West mission with unapproved software and programming languages that we don't support. So you spend days and days on this report, and you wait a week to get a response from them, and then you hear back. And they have some concerns. So they say to you that you can do whatever you want, but you need to operate within some boundaries. We don't want you to spin out of control. So cloud, that's a little bit insecure, or so we have heard. So let's do it on-prem. And database, well, we already have a SQL Server, and it's better if you use our enterprise system that we already support. Load balancing is out of the question because it's not supported on-prem, and so on. You just get to hear like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And this is not good because it will create total accountability on behalf of the team, but zero trust is put in your ability to solve the problem. And it's extremely demotivating, because what will happen is that if this project fails, you will get all the blame, but if it succeeds, you won't get any credit. So if you consider the exact same scenario, but instead of causing panic within the management team, it actually sparked some interest instead. So management, first of all, they know that they hired the most talented developers, so they put trust in you. You are the ones that are able to solve this problem. And they don't know better than the people who are working with it. They don't know better than the software development team. So they put trust in you, and they don't really have any interest in the fine details, or they don't have the knowledge of it either. So why should they? So they leave it for the team to decide. So the team doesn't have a cloud provider today. So they ask you to, well, can you maybe make a review out of Azure and Google Cloud Platform and I don't know, AWS, and perhaps you can document it a little bit so that we don't lose any information for the next ones who is up. It has to be, of course, good when it comes to security, and it has to be good when it comes to cost and GDPR and all of these. They still get parameters to be within, but they get much more trust to do what they want. And when it comes to databases, yeah, you can use Cosmos DB as long as it's backed up and you have snapshots and everything in place. So you see the difference here, right? It's much more motivating to be able to decide for yourself. And that's how you create ownership within a team. So in my current team I work in now, we have built a lot of trust. And if we, for example, need to refactor a piece of code or something, our product owner never say no, because they trust us and they know that if we say that we need to refactor, then we need to refactor. But that trust is something that has been built over time and with intention. So when I started in this team 6 years ago, we started with having a kickoff where we set the foundation for our work. And back then I didn't know much about teamwork. I, of course, knew that this team feels good or this team feels bad, but I didn't know what can you actually do to consciously improve a team. But we started out with a great team exercise, which was building Legos. I can totally recommend that as a team bonding exercise. But we also set up our ground rules. And they look like this. The team should be prestigeless. We should have the freedom of action, and everyone should be able to speak up if they have any feedback. You should ask questions if there is something you don't agree with, or if there is something you don't understand. We should have no silos. Commitment was really important for us as well. We should always do our best in the situation at hand. We should keep any agreements we have and trust each other. And we act as one team. We do not blame individuals. So I think these are pretty good, actually. Especially now when I look back, I was like, wow, we really came up with good things here. So if you haven't set up team ground rules in your team, I really recommend you to do so. Because if you do it, you will be able to hold each other accountable to them, and it will make a better team. We wrote one more thing, actually, and that brings me to the last pillar, and that is to have fun. And I can't stress enough how important it is for a team to have fun. Because when you have fun, it will improve the morale of the team. It will increase job satisfaction, which in turn will lead to, or can lead to, increased motivation and creativity and productivity and overall better results. You will have better communication and better teamwork. And of course, you will also have stronger relationships, which will create a more collaborative and supportive culture. It helps us connect with each other. And a couple of years ago, I was going through quite some rough times in my personal life, and I was under a lot of stress. And I had the option to be silent about this and just pretend that it wasn't happening and continue with business as usual. Or I could tell the team that what was happening, what was going on, and how I felt. And I chose to do the latter. It was a bit difficult to, open up with your personal issues and everything. But what I got back in return was so helpful. I got so much support, and even though I felt that I didn't deliver as much as I was used to do, the whole team, backed up behind me, and together we still delivered as much as we were supposed to do, even though I didn't do my part. And I think that was helpful because we had built all these relationships and trust and everything with our team. And some other time it's someone else's turn. What comes around goes around. Or is it the other way around? I can never get that one right. What goes around comes around. But even working with legacy code can be, I'm not going to say fun, but it can be okay if you work in a good team. If you can, share the misery together. But it's of course preferable to work with something that is fun and stimulating and everything, but we can't always have nice things. But if you work together with people that elevate you as a team, you can become a 10x team. So I'm curious to hear, how do you have fun in your team? I can mention in my team we have a thing for kebab. So everything we do when we do tests or some mock data or whatever, we use kebabs. So we have a lot of different images. That's one thing we do, joke about. We lack fun. Well, play ping pong, pinball. Pinball is great. Ice climbing and soup, champagne. We have lots of poop emojis. Build Arduino robot cars. Wow, that sounds fun. Stupid jokes, scribble, pingis, memes. Fredags Hassan. Okay, we cry together. Is that fun? I don't know. Gifts are good. Table tennis, pingis, yeah. Memes, that's what keeps us going. Shared moments of PTSD. Play Counter-Strike, yeah. Argue about legacy systems. Maybe if you make a game out of the argument, that can be fun. We have game time scheduled every week. Really like that as well. We make every meeting fun, like talking to friends. I really like that one as well. Beer, yeah. Go to Svetug. Yes. Are you here with your colleagues? Okay, using Teams auto-response successfully. Do you also put on auto captions in Teams and just sit and laugh at it? I do that sometimes. It's fun, but it's also hard when you see something really weird. Okay, 2 more typing. Band of fighting between teams. Okay, yeah. We all have our preferences. So, in conclusion, what you should do to build a 10x team is to find persons who will make other people better. You should build trust within the team. You should make sure that the team feels ownership of the product or project. And you should have fun. So, thank you all for listening today, and I hope you will go out and have some fun. Do we have any questions here? Yeah?
How do you identify a person, let's say from those roles, you know what you need. How do you look at in the hiring process? Because you have limited time with a person in your hiring.
Okay, so how do we identify the persons that we need in the hiring process?
Yeah, like let's say I have a person coming in for a talk, like what do I ask, what do I do, what I can incorporate into my hiring process to identify like his basically role, let's say.
It's of course difficult because the hiring processes are quite short and you don't get to spend too much time with a person. But I think it's good to be open and transparent on what characteristics you are looking for. So if you say that we are looking to find a person who is interested in developing their own technical abilities and learning new things, maybe the candidate will, hear it and say that, okay, yeah, I'm that kind of person. Or if you say, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't say that you look for someone who will bring cake, but be transparent on what kind of personalities you need as well. I know that when we recruited to my team, we decided to put the technical abilities last. So the first things we looked for were the personal traits. And I think that might attract some kinds of people who are interested in working in that way. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back. Okay, so the question is, would I separate having fun outside of work and on work? Yes and no. I think it's good to have fun outside of work with your colleagues, but it's not something that you expect or that you need to force people going to after works and stuff like that. We all have our lives. So I think it's important to have fun while at work as well, and then it's just a bonus if you have fun afterwards as well. Any other questions? Yeah?
I was in a job interview on Monday. I told them I'm not a risk owner. I'm fun to work with. They liked it.
Yeah,
That's exactly what.
that's great to hear. Did you know if you got the job yet? Yeah? I'm crossing my fingers for you. It sounds like a good team to work in. All right. Thank you so much once again for coming.